Imagine you are standing in a dark room and the walls seem completely smooth. You have been there for a long time and you are certain there is no way out. You feel heavy and stuck as if the air itself is made of lead. Many of us feel this way in our own lives even if we are not literally trapped. We feel trapped by our habits or our jobs or our own fears. We look at other people walking down the street and they seem to possess a magical kind of freedom that we cannot understand. We watch them meet friends for lunch or start new projects and it feels like they are living in a different dimension. We often think that the difference between them and us is intelligence or luck or money. We tell ourselves that if we were just a bit smarter or worked a bit harder, the walls would disappear. But what if the most important thing is not how smart you are, but how much you believe you can actually move? There is a quiet power that most of us overlook, and it is the ability to see that the walls around us are not as solid as they look. This power is about finding doors where everyone else sees only a flat surface. It is about realizing that you have more choices in every single moment than you think you do. We are living in a world where machines are starting to do the thinking for us. We can outsource our intelligence to a computer and we can outsource our hard work to a robot. In this new world, the thing that will truly matter is our ability to act and to choose. We are going to explore why desperation might actually be a gift and how you can learn to unlock a level of freedom that feels inconceivable right now. We will look at how to stop being a prisoner of your own patterns and start becoming the architect of your own escape. To begin this journey, we have to look at a concept that many people misunderstand. On the surface, we believe that success comes from having the right traits. We think some people are born brave while others are born shy. We think some are born leaders while others are followers. The surface idea is that our lives are shaped by things we cannot change, like our IQ or our past mistakes. When we find ourselves in a hole like a bad addiction or a failed career, we assume the hole is too deep to climb out of. We look for a ladder from the outside to save us. We think that if we just wait long enough, someone will notice our struggle and help us. This surface level of thinking makes us passive. We become observers of our own misery. We focus on our lack of resources or our lack of time. We see the world as a series of red lights that are stopping us from moving forward. On the surface, it seems like the only way to change is to have a perfect plan or to wait until the fear goes away. But this view is like looking at a map and forgetting that you are the one holding the compass. Behind this surface view lies a hidden assumption that agency is an innate talent. We often assume that you either have the drive to change or you do not. This hidden assumption suggests that if you are stuck, it is because you lack a certain spark that lucky people possess. But the hidden truth is that agency is actually a skill that can be built through practice. We often assume that we need to feel confident before we act. We wait for the feeling of certainty to arrive like a bus at a station. But the hidden reality is that the action usually comes before the feeling. We assume that losing everything is the worst thing that can happen. However, there is a hidden gift in losing everything because it removes the fear of failure. When you have nothing left to lose, you become a dangerous kind of free. You stop caring about looking silly or being rejected. This hidden shift from pride to desperation is often what allows the first door to open. We assume that we have to understand everything before we can move. But the hidden truth is that not knowing is an advantage. It allows you to ask the simple questions that everyone else is too embarrassed to ask. This brings us to a structural pattern of how we avoid growth in our daily lives. We see a pattern of avoiding rejection at all costs. We structure our lives so that we only aim for things we are already certain we can get. This creates a safe life, but it also creates a small life. It is a structural loop where we stay within our comfort zone because we do not want to feel the sting of a no. Another structural pattern is our tendency to hide our weaknesses from others. We pretend we understand when we are lost. We pretend we are fine when we are struggling. This pattern of hiding creates an invisible wall between us and the help we actually need. We also see a pattern where we treat our personality traits as fixed structures. We say things like, "I am just not an optimistic person," or "I am just not good with people." This way of thinking turns our traits into prison bars. We build a structure of excuses that keeps us exactly where we are year after year. To break these patterns, we must reframe our entire perspective on what it means to have power over our lives. We can reframe agency as the capacity to see and act on all the degrees of freedom we actually have. Instead of seeing a wall, we can reframe it as a surface that might have a hidden handle. We can reframe desperation not as a tragedy but as a powerful fuel for change. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment, we can reframe every moment as an opportunity to say yes to a new connection. We should reframe rejection as a sign that we are finally aiming high enough. If you are not getting rejected, you are probably not growing. We can also reframe feedback. Instead of seeing criticism as an attack, we can reframe it as a gift that allows us to see our own blind spots. This shift in perspective turns the scary parts of life into exciting challenges. It allows us to move from a state of being trapped to a state of being hungry for new experiences. Reframing your life this way means realizing that you are the one who decides how much freedom you really have. Applying this to your daily life starts with 3 simple tactics. First, you must assume that everything is learnable. You can apply this by picking a trait you think you lack, like curiosity or optimism, and treating it as a subject to study. Put the same effort into learning to be happy that you would put into learning a new language. Second, you should intentionally court rejection. Apply this by asking for things that feel slightly unreasonable. Ask for the big promotion or the meeting with someone you admire. If you get a no, you have learned where the boundary is. If you get a yes, you have changed your life. Third, seek out real and honest feedback. You can apply this by giving people a way to tell you the truth anonymously. It might be scary to hear what people really think, but it is the only way to stop hiding things from yourself. When you know your blind spots, you can finally start to move past them. You can apply these ideas in your relationships by deciding to resolve emotional barriers instead of just living with them. You can apply them in your work by being the person who admits they do not understand and asks for an explanation. This creates a win-win situation where you learn faster and others feel valued for their knowledge. Even in a global crisis, you can apply a sense of desperation to drive you toward faster solutions. The more you practice these small acts of agency, the more you will realize that you are not a prisoner of your circumstances. You can find freedom in the most unlikely places. It is important to remember that most people learn this skill through sheer luck or through a difficult crisis. But you do not have to wait for your life to fall apart to start building your agency. You can start right now by looking at your current situation with fresh eyes. We often live as if we are waiting for permission to be the main character in our own story. We wait for a sign or a teacher or a better day. But the power to move has been inside you all along. When you stop protecting your pride and start going for volume in your connections, you create a net of opportunities that will catch you when you fall. The freedom to decide what to do with an afternoon is a beautiful thing, but it is only the beginning. Real freedom is the ability to look at a hopeless situation and see the hidden door. It is the ability to admit that you were wrong and then do whatever it takes to make it right. We are all capable of this transformation if we are willing to be a little bit fearless and a lot more hungry for growth. You have degrees of freedom that you have not even touched yet. You have potential that is waiting for you to simply say yes. The walls of your life are only as solid as your belief in them. If you could strip away all of your pride and all of your excuses for just one day, what is the very first hidden door you would try to open in the wall that has been holding you back?